Hi guys, Simon and Alex here from Top Tennis Training, and welcome to video number 2 from my Tennis Tactics Blueprint course.
Now this course has been one of our most successful courses that we've done. We've had great feedback, and this is video number 2 where we're going to teach you how to deal with a player who's slicing the ball, who's hitting the ball quite short, and what can you do from that situation. So it's exactly the kind of tactic that we taught you in video number 1, where you bring someone forward with the slice by keeping the ball low. But now we want to know, what do we do when someone does it against us? We might not necessarily be a pusher ourselves, but someone who has a great slice, someone like Roger Federer, for example, uses it a lot on the return, uses it a lot in the rally. It's a great way to mix up pace and tempo. So if a player's like that and they have a great slice and keeping the ball low, you need to know exactly what to do in that situation in order not to lose the match, not to give them an easy point afterwards. So this is something that we're going to cover in this video. Now Simon has had a great track record in producing players of national standard. He's worked with many juniors and has been doing it for the last 10 years. So Simon, in your opinion, when a player gets that low slice, what would you be working, or what would you be telling your player to do against someone who does that?
Now the thing that is the most common thing that players do on that kind of ball, they get up to that low ball and they kind of jab at the ball. They don't actually have a plan of how to overcome that slice. So the first thing I would say is, if you're going to drive it, if you're going to hit the topspin, you have to overcome their slice with your own topspin. It's not about power, it's more about that topspin and the height, the net clearance, because the low bouncing ball is very hard for me to be aggressive off this ball. But if I add that topspin, it makes it much easier for me to clear the net, and also after the ball's bounced on my opponent's side, it's going to kick up. So hopefully that's one way that we can deal with that low slice. The other way is to then slice it back. So if someone's hit a low slice to me, there's nothing against the rule book that says I don't have an option of hitting that slice back to them.
So moving back to the topspin one, it almost like, I remember playing table tennis, and if any of you ever play table tennis, when someone really spins that ball against you and you just come to the ball with just a flat racket face, the ball kind of just drops off because it bites the string and it comes off. So when someone slices it against you, you don't want to just touch it, you actually have to overcome it, as Simon said, with that extra topspin, and that I think requires a lot of fast racket hit speed. So we just say you're focusing on racket hit speed.
Racket hit speed, brushing the back of the ball.
So it's more brushing rather than power. So you're not going for that, for the drive through. You're using more the wrist and the forearm. It's more like the smaller segments, the ones that you would use for precision. It's more of a precision shot. You're guiding the shot. I mean, you're not guiding it with the arms, but you're directing. You're placing that ball into the position where you want, and that's very important to think, because you have to almost have a different mentality when you come up to the shot. Oh right, I'm not just going to hit this. This is, you know, I'm going to place this shot, but I'm going to place it with topspin, and hopefully, because I've placed it well and the ball has bounced up and out of the court, then it's going to create some trouble for my opponent. Now we talked about the slice. Where would you be aiming that slice when you're hitting it?
It depends on the situation. So if they've hit that short slice, I might hit it cross-court angle. I might go down the line depending on how wide the ball is. And if it's on the baseline, I might go cross-court the majority of the time, because I'm going over the lowest part of the net and I have the most space to miss by. So that cross-court slice works wonders against those type of players. Now if it's a little bit shorter, there's many variations that we can do from this type of shot. So let's have a look at that in action right now. Now if your opponent has hit that low slice quite short, Alex, and I'm around here, where should I be aiming this type of shot?
Well, just as you said, you can either go cross-court, you can go down the line, or you can go deep cross-court. So either chip, line, or a deep cross. Now it all depends on what you're trying to do with the ball, whether you're coming forward. Is it an approach shot? Because if you're approaching, it's probably better to hit it down the line and come in, follow the line of the ball. If you could also chip it cross-court, and again it will require a little bit of touch, but if you can get the ball wide enough, it's going to be a lot tougher for that player to pass you if you're cutting inside to the right side of the court. Now if you're approaching, I wouldn't necessarily go just generally cross-court. With a slice, the ball doesn't travel very fast. If you didn't quite get it high, like low enough, and the ball has bounced up, they will be able to pass you down the line. And because you'll have this frantic panic to try and cover that side, if they do go cross, you won't be able to cover that one. So you leave yourself very vulnerable in that situation. Whereas if you go line, you can sometimes even use a little bit of that side spin to make the ball actually bounce and then curve out, and it makes it even more difficult for the player to pass you. You are going to the forehand side though, so if you go to the forehand side, you have to make sure that the slice is not floaty. So what do we mean by floaty slice? If I hit the ball and the ball comes up off my strings and it takes a long time to reach my opponent, it bounces and it sits up, it's a floaty slice. You don't want to hit that one. What you want to do is you want it to cut. You want to bite that slice, so the ball is traveling fast through the air, it's traveling low over the net, and the bounce is very low. It doesn't give your opponent a lot of time to react, because you don't want it to be a slow shot, because from that shot they'll be able to pass you. You want to be the one in control of that shot, and if you can hit that shot well, it creates a lot of problems for your opponent. So there I chose the down the line option. The first time I did a little chip cross, and I anticipated that pass down the line, because that's where the space is open, that's where the player is going to think to go. So if they do go there, you don't want to give them that shot. So I always try and cover that side. And then in this instance, when I go down the line, I'm looking for them to hit the ball cross, and then again I'm looking for that volley. So it doesn't necessarily mean you have to do a lot with that volley. If you're close enough to the net, you can actually end up just playing some kind of a short ball, which doesn't have to be that good, and they won't be able to get it. So there again, I didn't have to do that much with the volley. It's probably the best passing shot that he could have done in that situation, but all I had to do was touch the ball, make the ball go over the net, and he was nowhere near it. Now in this instance, I'm going to try and drive it. So I'm going to drive the backhand cross court with a little bit of topspin, brush it up with fast rackets, head speed, see if I can do it. Yep. It's very important that you just keep going through it. Don't try and slow it down. You're placing the ball, but you're placing it with the fast racket head speed. The control will come from the topspin, from the bite that you'll get on the strings. Now, if you're going down the line, it's actually quite tough to hit that down the line. What you're going to be vulnerable on is if you don't hit it fast enough, they're going to pass you cross court, but it becomes very difficult to hit it fast because the ball is low, so you actually end up going for too much, and it's exactly what I just did there, and I ended up missing it. So do choose those shots appropriately, so don't go for too much on it.
Now Alex, that was the backhand side, but what happens if the opponent hits a slice into this side of the court?
So if it goes to my forehand, again, I'm focusing on accelerating as much as I can with my wrist, using my forearm, using the topspin. I need that ball to go over the net and dip after the net. I don't want it to keep going far and deep, and I don't want it to go long. I also don't want it to go into the net, so I need a nice curve of the ball, which I'm going to get with my racket head speed. And usually I'd either go cross court, so cross court would be the natural shot, because you're coming forward, it's kind of easier to wrap around the ball when the ball is low than to actually go down a line. So if I do go down a line, it would be more of like a guiding shot, where almost like an approach shot. It could be almost like a push shot, which you're coming forward and asking the question, you know, can you pass me? It wouldn't necessarily be you know, like a really hard fast shot, and you know, the spin becomes also quite difficult because you're going over the high part of the net. So you have to choose it well. Some players can, like if you have enough racket head speed, especially some doubles players, when you're playing in a doubles scenario, if you just try and whip a lot of topspin but not enough power behind it, the net player can close the ball down because the ball's coming up and it travels quite slow through the air. So you're going to have to give a little bit of power, and it does take practice. So some players can also hit the down the line, but I'd say it's a more difficult shot to master.
Riskier.
You know, it's a riskier shot. It's a more difficult shot to master. So yeah, that's what I'd do. I mean, you mentioned you like Simon sometimes does the forehand slice.
Yep. Now, if you have that low ball that's bouncing quite short, for me, there's nothing wrong with hitting a slice approach, or a slice where you just pick the ball up and get back on the baseline if it is quite deep. So that forehand slice, even though players don't hit it that often, sometimes you do see players on the full run hitting the forehand slice, or on that short ball, especially on a faster court like a grass court or this kind of artificial grass. That low slice with the forehand will be a perfect way to pick that ball up and keep yourself in an aggressive position on the court.
And yeah, just like Simon said, if you do play that forehand slice, for me, I'd say if you're coming forward, it's a good one, because it keeps the ball low. It makes them pass just like with a backhand slice. If you can, I would say I would drive it. I would go for a topspin, but if the ball is too low sometimes to topspin, especially if you have quite a western grip, the more western you go, the tougher those balls become. So if you are one of those players, you may have to start adapting with the slice. So it also depends on what kind of game style and what kind of grip you play with.
It's also a good idea to mix it up. So if you're only driving, the opponent starts to get used to that kind of ball that's aggressive with a lot of spin, but where you throw in a couple of those low slices, it really mixes up the play and it throws off the opponent time and time again. Because the ball was really low, I chose to use that forehand slice, keep it really low on that side. Alex hit a really good backhand, but because I was able to close the net down quite quickly, I was able to finish the point with the volley. And there, once again, because it was coming into my body, I was able to then cut inside the ball and make it curve away from Alex, and it gave me that the open court for the easy volley. Now if that ball comes a little bit softer and you see the opponent leaning towards his backhand, expecting that down the line, you could always hit that short angle cross court, and if they even get there, it's going to be a very hard ball to pass me on because it's so low.
There I try to use my legs, and it's something that you guys should try and do whenever you get that low ball. Even if it's deep, you're going to get down as much as you can. You're going to use your legs as the main power source, and then the wrist and the forearm creating that bit of topspin, making the ball curve. But here you're going for a little bit more distance compared to the one that's a little bit shorter if you're trying to chisel it or you're trying to topspin for angle. So here I'm looking for big targets, looking to go deep, and I'm looking to accelerate my racket through the shot.
Now for the two-hander, when they hit that low slice to my backhand, what I'm looking to do is I'm not trying to take it too high up, I'm not trying to take my racket too high up as I would do on a higher bouncing ball. I'm taking it a little bit lower, and I really want to exaggerate the racket drop. So I'm in that position, and then I'm feeling that racket dropping below the ball level. So the racket head is ending up below the grip level, and then I'm brushing up the back of the ball for that topspin.
Yeah.
And there I really focused on using my left hand, so my top hand, to really whip up the ball, almost like a forehand shot.
Thank you guys for watching. That was video number 2 from our Tactics Blueprint course. This was the video on how to deal with a player who slices a lot, a player who chips it, brings you forward, or generally just has a great slice. Try it out yourself, see if it improves your game.
Also share this video with anybody who struggles with those low balls, or someone who is a slicer. Now you know how to beat that type of player.
Thank you guys for watching. Look out for video number 3. See you soon.